Really?
I don't have my contract.
But isn't that because of the new?
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, it is 6:30. I will call the meeting to order. First agenda item is we will discuss as a special amusement permit renewal, Astakim Corporation. Anybody have any comments or concerns about the hearing? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I would move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
All in favor? Public hearing is closed.
And you as well, Wendy.
Yes, sorry. Can't do all this.
It's a lot.
And then we need to,
When the post office can take it down to new business, you've got both the liquor license renewal
Okay.
and the permit.
so no action at
You
this
don't need
time.
to take any action, you can take it into new business.
Do we have a motion to accept the minutes from the meeting of June 21, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Appointments, recognition, and resignations. Recognition of Tony Smith, Public Works Director from the Mount Desert Water District. Or, I guess I should state that.
It was help with the,
The water, from the Water District,
Yeah.
thank you letter.
right.
We just need to say, acknowledge that. Thank you, Tony.
Tony here?
Yeah, he's here. He's muted. There he is.
Consent agenda, Hancock County Commissioners meeting minutes of June 7th, 2022. Monthly bypass notice for July for MRC members, municipal solid waste bypassing the Hamden Solid Waste Facility and going to Pete Perk. And the progress report on the court-approved sale of the Hamden Solid Waste Facility to the MRC.
Move acceptance of the consent agenda as presented.
Can we just have a couple clarifying points on C?
Yeah, me too.
Can we second the,
Yeah,
First.
second.
and then we'll have discussion?
Okay. So I'm glad that whatever took place moved it forward a little bit in the courts, but then there's some sort of vague details about what agreements were made. I wasn't sure with the lien holders. I mean, assuming those are the people that filed the stop order. And we don't have any details about what that agreement is. And it's a little bit concerning just that they're assuming the court's going to just, pass this through once the agreements are detailed. And then also beyond that, the next step is with this bringing on other ownership to help operate the facility. It seems like there's still an awful lot of vagueness that I'd love to see more clarity on.
Tony?
There will be another, what we call a constant contact coming out describing some of those concerns. We are going to end up owning it, meaning the members, the MRC. And following that, we would look for partners to own a portion and operate, or try to fund it with the members' involvement, some of the members' involvement, and also look for minor partner and operators.
Tony, I share Jeff's concerns. We haven't received any reassurance from our town that we'd be willing to step up and
No.
put any more money into this. Are there other towns that are interested? Because frankly, it feels like good money after bad. And it doesn't feel like there's a plan in place.
Well, I disagree about the good money after bad. The money that's been spent so far has been good money. We need this facility in the state of Maine and particularly in our area to address the recycling, which by law is mandated to be greater than 50%. Our town is around 11 or 12% when we used to have to file with the state planning office annual reports, which then was changed to the filing with the DEP. The facility, the technology works. As we all know, it failed due to lack of additional funding to make improvements to the plant that the former owners identified, and poor management. They didn't have ownership, feet in, boots on the ground in the facility. We were hoping to close June 30th. The judge asked for a couple of liens, the two primary liens, to be addressed. Those were successfully addressed with the lien holders. And I've not heard anything today, but sometime pretty soon we will be notified that we'll be able to make the purchase as the MRC. Then we will actively look for funding through our federal representative's office in Washington, locally here in the state funds or state backing of a loan. The members, only more formally with the members. That first questionnaire was just to get a general sense of what some members might be interested in doing. In my opinion, that questionnaire wasn't the best. I think it created more questions than and angst on the part of the members than anything else. I personally will ask to be involved with any other interaction with the members regarding potential member funding part or all of this first X numbers, $20-25 million to get up and running. But we are actively interviewing and meeting with some of the people that were interested in purchasing and operating the facility that couldn't make the cut and meet our qualifications. We're also actively looking for operators and funding sources. So in a nutshell, operators, owners, and independent funding sources.
Have any of the member towns expressed an interest with that questionnaire in putting money into it?
I don't want to put any towns or cities on the spot by saying they were wholeheartedly for it at that time, but there has been some rumblings from some that yes, they'd be interested.
Tony, do we have any idea about what the cost would be if we're not able to get this facility up and running to either incinerate or perk, vis-a-vis what it would be if the plant were running and we did make a contribution of some sort? Do you have any idea what those figures would look like?
When the plant is up and when the plant is up and running, the tip fee will be whatever. It's not going to go up. The MRC is adamant that that tip fee is not going to go up any more than the CPI each year. So I think it's around $70 some right now that we're paying as a tip fee there. If that plant does not open, the member towns will have no leverage with any of the alternatives like they will have with Coastal Resources plant, the old plant, and like we had with PERC. The members own 25% of PERC, so this is not new ground for the MRC, representing the MRC in ownership of the facility. And we feel that's why the tip fees were reasonable with PERC while we still were under contract with them up through 2018. And that's why we would like to have the MRC, AKA the members, own a portion of this facility. In answer to your question, Darlene, the tip fee would be whatever. It's not been finalized, but there was a tip fee of, well, whatever it is we're paying now, and it'll go up by the CPI. And quite frankly, without MRC representation for the members, the sky's the limit. To go to PERC, to go to JRL, to go anywhere else. Because we have no say in those tip fees.
Thank you, Tony. Any other?
Martha,
comments?
was that Do you have any other questions, Martha?
You know, Tony, I know you're kind of stuck in the middle here, but it just seems to me the purchase of this by the MRC is a mistake.
Well,
I know you have confidence in this machinery, but as I understand it, it's never worked anywhere else. It worked briefly here. It's been lying there unused for 2 years. And throwing a lot of money at it just feels crazy to me. Plus, if they stockholders couldn't sell it, why will we be able to get people to put money into it? I don't want to put our town's money into it.
well, be prepared for very, very high tip fees. They were actually bondholder investors, not stock owners. Pardon?
That's right, sorry.
No, and if we don't own it, if we didn't have any qualified prospective buyers, meaning they didn't meet our qualifications, the bondholders or the legal counsel representing bondholders. If it lays there dormant, somebody will buy it, junk it, and sell the materials for scrap. That's what we're trying to avoid. That's the next step, is sell it for scrap. And then we can send our garbage to an aging perk plant that's seen better days at high tip fees, or we can landfill our waste. This facility, it's spotless on the inside. DEP's commented on that. They visited it. They would like to see this, is my understanding. They'd like to see this facility reopen and work. It's in the hierarchy closer to the top than it is the bottom of the solid waste management hierarchy for the state of Maine.
I mean, I guess I reiterate, I feel like I would appreciate the updates that come, but they're not very reassuring to me.
Well,
Just there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I understand that, there's a potential for all these bad things to happen, the high tip fees, this and that, and we understand it, but again, it'd be nice to have some detail. When are we going to know what this agreement was to satisfy these lien holders? The statement says that we're going to reduce the need to ask members because we're working with private partners to potentially share ownership. Who and what does that mean?
Well,
we don't know. And so I understand your argument. It's
well,
not
a
very.
lot of this, ExxonMobil doesn't do business in the public. So think of it that way. This is a private business involving public entities. And a lot of this work, for instance, the prospective bidders that were looking at all the history of sales and whatnot at the plant all had to sign non-disclosure agreements. You can't negotiate contracts for something, not contracts. There would have been contracts for a facility that's worth up to $80 million in public. That's why there's so many executive sessions, and that's frustrating to people because they don't know all the nuances and all the minuscule details that are going on behind closed doors when we get our reports from our consultants and executive director on what work they've been doing with company A, company B, or company C.
Right. No, I understand. I appreciate that.
It is frustrating.
One last question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It says that assuming that the court follows through in the way that the board of directors expects, they're hoping to close on this within a couple of weeks, which would fall before the July 27th hybrid meeting with a robust public comment session. Okay, so that's sort of just a comment of fact, but do they anticipate a large contingent of people with questions? I mean, are they gonna be?
Well,
'Cause I
that-
think there will be, because I'm sure that
Yes.
one of the questions that's gonna come up now is with the forever chemicals being a hot issue. I heard something about the washing out of, is that gonna be a new stumbling block for the whole process at the plant? And I don't know if that's appropriate to ask you about now. I just know that that's gonna come up at that hearing.
Mhm. And I appreciate you pointing that out, Jeff. That meeting is the typical quarterly meeting for this time of the year of the MRC. We anticipate a lot of the questions that you folks hope, and I hope we can answer them.
Okay.
And the PFAS, that's new.
Yeah, but it's
But it's
real.
Oh, I know it is. I know. I know it is. Yes, for sure.
And the washing was a significant part of the final process of that. So I know that's a concern to some. I don't know much about the science of it.
And that wash water would go into the digester to produce
Yeah.
biogas.
Thanks. Sorry.
Thanks. No problem. Thank you for the questions.
So any other discussion on the consent agenda? We have a motion and a second. Everyone in favor?
Did we accept it? Yeah.
Accepted as
Yeah.
presented,
Yeah.
opposed? So consent agenda as presented. Any selectmen's reports tonight?
Just one observation, Tony, and I hate to be pummeling you, but I was up at the recycling place today at the garage, and it's kind of a mess. People are putting things in the wrong place. I know there's a sign there that directs people what to put where, but they're not. And it was the returnables were overflowing and the recycling was almost overflowing. And I feel like if we're gonna, if this MRC business doesn't work out, our only answer will be to really up the recycling. And I know right now we can only divide it into two, but it's not even being divided well there. And I know that can mess up the whole system. So I don't know if we need better signage. We used to have a kid up there that would direct people. I just think we can do better. It's too much for you and your guys to take care of, maybe. I mean, it's a lot.
Well, this is a day after one of the biggest long weekends in the state. That lends itself to it. And we're doing commingling of the recyclables. It does not have to be separated out. And we're only choosing to have a separate container for cardboard because this is a lot of ifs. If the baler at Casella, where these materials are going, is working, we don't get charged for the cardboard. Otherwise, if it is not working and it was all mixed together, it's $150 a ton. And that's why that one bin looks like a mess, because we used to separate.
Right. No, I know that. It was just, you're right. It was right after 4th of July, but no, there was stuff with the cardboard that shouldn't have been in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I observed.
But again, it is after the long weekend, the guys hadn't had give us a couple days and then should be spruced up.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay. And remember, when I made the proposal, I was asked to look at recycling, I opted to recommend we not have an attendant. The long weekend, the influx of a lot of newer people coming in, it's challenging.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Any other selectmen's reports? Unfinished business, none presented. New business, liquor license renewal, Astakim Corporation doing business as Astaku Inn. Any comments, questions?
Move approval.
Do we include the special music? That's a different
That's
thing.
separate.
That's
Okay.
the next.
Okay. That's-
I moved it.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
There it is. Okay.
Special amusement permit, Astakim Corporation doing business as Astaku Inn.
Move approval.
Second,
Any discussion, comments? All in favor? Liquor license renewal, Michael C. Boland doing business as Copita.
Move approval.
second,
Any questions, comments? All in favor? Request for approval for Casco Bay Advisors LLC as presented in the proposal dated April 18th, 2022 to support the town of Mount Desert's efforts to expand the availability of high-speed internet for all residents and businesses and authorize up to $10,000 to be expended from the Community Development Consultant account number 1770100-54540 to cover the cost of the proposed work.
this is what you brought up, Kathy, last meeting,
Yes.
and we had not yet received the memo, so, okay. This time we have, absolutely. Do we know, usually when Tony or one of the other, when I see these expended from a particular account, there's a balance provided. Is that an account that's funded well enough to support this?
Yeah, it's funded up, it has 10,000 in it.
Okay,
And we don't anticipate spending 10,000 because it's an hourly contract and it shouldn't be that complicated, but that would allow it in case that did.
So up to
Up
10,000.
to, yes, not a $10,000 expenditure.
So whose CIP is this coming out of?
That's coming out of the community development.
Okay,
And it was, which was, the budget was specifically for this. kind of
Yes,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
budgeted for.
yeah, it just didn't indicate who was requesting it.
And this is all hourly, billed hourly.
Yes,
Okay.
hourly.
Move
Does not
approval.
look like a terribly complicated. A lot of the data is there. It's a matter of
Right.
correlating it. and
it's also,
putting
I
it
mean,
together.
and whether or not the goals, listed 1 through 3 in order of potential expense are reachable is an entirely different discussion, but it's nice to aim. I second Rick's move.
Moved by Rick, seconded by Jeff. Any other discussion? All in favor? New business continued consideration of Public Works Director Tony Smith's request for select board authorization to solicit competitive bids for the purchase of a new model 2024 fully outfitted refuse packer truck for the Waste Management Division of the Public Works Department as described in his June 22 memo to Town Manager Derlin Lunt.
I'd move authorization to solicit those bids.
I'd second that.
Moved by Rick, seconded by Jeff. Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
Sure.
Request authorization to pay for replacement of one of the Northeast Harbor mooring floats, top chains by Alva B Barge Service LLC for $1,140.50 from the Northeast Harbor Mooring Floats CIP account number 6410100-24681, which has a balance of $351,407.27.
Move authorization.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Request authorization to pay MCM Electric $11,867.64 for replacement of 3 power pedestals out of the Northeast Harbor Marina Power Pedestals CIP number 6410100-24680, which has a balance of $111,249.18.
I have just a question. I've probably asked this question before, but is there a threshold over which we're supposed to we solicit competitive bids, or does anybody know the answer to that question? Or I know that MCM has done most of this work and so they're familiar with it and probably would end up with it, but I sometimes wonder that with a job, how big does a job have to get before we?
There is, in the purchasing policy, I've got the copy of it down there. I can't give you the figure. Generally, what happens on those is when we don't get the 3 competitive bids, it's usually because there aren't 3
Yeah, I
competitive bidders.
understand.
to do that sort of work, or there's a very limited amount of folks that can do
Right.
that. So but I can give you the exact number, although I don't have it off the top of my head.
And it's tiered, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's less than 5,000, no action necessary. If it's up to
Right.
10,000, then it's debatable for the person seeking the authorization can just go out and sole source it if they know that that's the only one that's gonna be in the game. Or if it's about 15,000, it has to go out to bid, I believe.
Tony, did you have a comment?
Actually, my authorization is up to 5,000. Derlin's is up to 10,000 with criteria attached to it. At over 10,000 estimated is competitive, or solicit 3 prices. And as I think Derlin said, like our paving bid this year that you haven't seen the results of, I didn't get it into this agenda. We solicited bids from 3 contractors and got 2. The trucks, there's one international dealership, for example, that's bought up 2 international dealerships in the state. We try to get 3, and as Darlin said, sometimes we don't do, and sometimes we don't. But between 5 and 10,000, I send Darlin the justification for our needs between 5 and 10, and he weighs in on it and says A or nay.
And this is, I know I'm making friends with John, who's here too, sorry. I just asked a question at the wrong time. Anyway, maybe we could just follow up with that another time. I'd move approval, the authorization to pay for this.
Second, but Jake looks like he wants to say something.
Yeah, he does.
Jake, do you have a comment?
The only thing I was going to say is that there is language in there that talks about if available. And so as I think you guys were talking about, that if this is the only vendor that's qualified to do this particular work, that, that's why it may bypass that based on historical knowledge and understanding of the situation and go directly to you.
Well,
that is a big part of it is, the knowledge that MCM possesses. They have built our system. They've been maintaining it for 15 to 20 years. When I ordered these 6 months ago, prices weren't even available, but no matter what the price of them, our system is going through a replacement transition, and these pedestals that they replaced were failing, and to keep the marina in a safe, usable condition, this is necessary, and I've been replacing 2 to 3 every year for at least the last 5 years.
Thank you. Tony, did you have another comment? No?
Been moved and seconded, so.
Moved by Jeff, seconded by Martha. Any other discussion? All in favor? Letter from Cranberry Isles Town Administrator James Fortune requesting a renewal of the Cranberry Isle parking lot lease at the Northeast Harbor Marina beginning on January 1, 2024. The current lease expires December 31, 2023.
I gave you a copy of the current lease, and if you are interested in renewing or discussing renewing the Cranberry Island lease, what I would propose is that sometime after Labor Day, that Jim Fortune, who's here, he's the administrator for Cranberry Isles, myself and Jim Willis get together and take a look at what proposed changes we might want to offer to you and then to the town for its final approval. I think the first key is there an interest in renewing the lease? If there is, then we will work on it and bring back drafts of it as we go along and going into the town meeting.
I move we renew the lease.
I would, okay.
As is or
No,
after?
No,
no,
no, we're
no.
after the
Okay.
proper
That
discussion.
we investigate.
Okay.
There are parts of that lease that would no longer be appropriate.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
For 10 years, things change, so there definitely have to be some changes.
Yeah.
Made in it regardless, but the first key is to say, do you even want to do a lease? If you don't, we're not gonna bother,
Okay,
but if you do, then we will start to
Yeah, I
work on that.
find a way to renew the.
Yeah. so do we have a second?
we need to, okay, yeah, I'd second that.
Jim, do you have any comment?
No, I think that, excuse me, I think that's good. I'll get with Derlin and Chief Willis and talk about the current lease and what changes might need to be made. And so I know after talking to Jim Willis over the last couple of years, there are probably going to be some changes, at least how we manage it as well. So, because we do have some problems there, and he and I talked about those. So I'll get with Derlin and Jim and go talk about those issues.
I think we can come up with a good lease that will be, do the
Yeah.
job and also fill in some gaps that have developed over the past 10 years. So.
That
That
makes
part,
sense.
that parking lot is crucial for the.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
we absolutely rely heavily on that for our residents year round, obviously. So
And I think we totally
Yeah.
support that.
Yeah,
So, but
It's a good idea to be forward thinking about all of them.
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, thank you.
So moved by Martha, seconded by Jeff. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll talk to you.
Any other business that needs to be discussed at this time? All right, moving on to treasurer warrants. Town invoice AP number 2303 dated July 6th in the amount of $751,236.59.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Town state fees and payroll benefits AP 2276 in the amount of $2,986.25. AP 2277 in the amount of $6,184.25. AP 2302 in the amount of $80,090.79. And town payroll PR 2230 in the amount of $139,964.63.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Moved and seconded, all in favor? One abstention, please. School invoices number 16 dated $19,783.89 and school payroll number 26 in the amount of $232,262.23.
To acknowledgement.
Excuse me, $266.23.
Sorry,
Gotta get it right for sure.
stand corrected, thank you. Moved and,
Martha, did you move that?
No, nobody moved it yet. Move,
Oh.
so moved.
Second.
any other discussion? All in favor? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Moved and seconded.
Thank you, Wendy.
All in favor?
7:03.
7:03.
Thank you.
Yeah, 7:03.